The Yellow Brick Road. This video does not reflect the actual views of real people. These are actors playing a role to entertain audiences. No persons or animals were harmed in the making of this video. Gosh, I love YouTube and I love Google.
Welcome to Yellow Brick Road. I'm Jordan, this is James, and we're going to be talking about Bill Maher's comments about comic books right after the passing of Stan Lee. Now, I wish he did this on his show so we could just listen to him and then comment back on it, but I guess he did it in some blog post, and comicbook.com covered it. And the fans went crazy, like shitting on this guy.
Good.
Out just for reference, these are not wings. It's just a jacket hanging off a chair. It looks like wings, but it's not. I'm not actually Batman.
It's like, that's right, man, black man. Batman is black.
Just trying to steal our culture. Shut up. Stop. Alright, so we're going to go right into the article. First, we're going to cover up our beautiful faces. Alright. So, from comicbook.com. Controversial television personality Bill Maher is in hot water across social media for a blog post in which he questions the legitimacy of comic books as a medium, dropping Stan Lee's named and disrespecting the recently deceased in the process. In a post on his blog, Maher slammed Americans for using their smarts on stupid stuff and pointed out fans he thought were overreacting in the moments following Lee's passing. Let's go to his Bill Maher's quote here.
Oh god. Here we go.
So this is from Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Quote. You might want to refresh that. Oh, no, you're fine. Alright. Quote. The guy who created Spider-Man and the Hulk has died, and America is in mourning, Maher wrote. Deep, deep mourning for a man who inspired millions to, I don't know, watch a movie, I guess. Someone on Reddit posted, I'm so incredibly grateful I've lived in a world that included Stan Lee. Yeah. Don't do that. Personally, I'm grateful I've lived in a world that included oxygen and trees, but to each his own. Now I have nothing against comic books. I read them now and then when I was a little kid, and I was all out of Hardy Boys. But the assumption everyone had back then, both the adults and the kids, was that comic books were for kids, and when you grew up, you moved on to big boy books without pictures.
Dude, is that it?
No, that's not it.
Oh, it's not it. It keeps going.
We'll stop there for a second.
Dude, what a chode. Unreal. Unreal.
And
like, this really is telling. Like when I posted before, it's like, what could possibly be told from what he's got to say about comic books?
and he doesn't understand the point of these things, right? It's like film or art or even religion to some degree, like a gateway into your imagination to where you can work out ideas that you can't actually physically do, right?
Yeah.
You can act out in your imagination being a hero. That strengthens your moral capacity.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say that's where the morality is actually worked out in, right? When you see something shitty happening in the world, your mind, when you empathize with it, you almost imagine it first, like, oh shit, what is that person going through?
Yeah.
You can almost imagine it. So, comic books and superhero films and all that, they put situations that no one wants to see, but they can put them out there in a safe space, like a movie theater or in a book, and people can act out on their moral fortitude or moral intelligence. they can act it out with that, rather than having to be in a dire situation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to experience, cars blowing up in front of me in some apocalyptic world to make moral decisions. I can do it right in my imagination. Like, oh, what if this happened?
It's also how a story can transcend.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's the other part that I'll probably get to. How it gets even further than just simple moral arguments. And if you haven't noticed, we take a philosophical approach. I'm not so much of a comic book guy, but I do love superheroes because of what they can do. Alright. Shit. Yeah. Alright, continuing. In typical Maher fashion, the personality continued his tirade against comic books, saying the industry is only succeeding because dumb people gotta be professors, as they wrote papers and theses about comic book characters. Quote, or extra quote. But then 20 years or so ago, something happened. Adults decided they didn't have to give up kid stuff, Maher ranted. And so they pretended comic books were actually sophisticated literature.
Oh my God.
And because America has over 4,500 colleges, which means we need more professors than we have smart people, some dumb people gotta be professors by writing theses with titles like Otherness and Heterodoxy in the Silver Surfer.
What? Hey. Wow.
And now when adults are forced to do grown-up things like buy auto insurance, they call it adulting and act like it's some giant struggle. Alright, I'll stop it right there. Yeah. Fuck. I lost my place. Production quality, people. Yeah, that's where we left off.
Yeah.
So
course.
he's basically saying it's immature to be into comic books, and that
That's ridiculous.
and that it's dumbing down society to where college kids can write a thesis on using comic book references.
Absolutely not.
That might be the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It's up there.
He's proving to me he's a poser.
It's like what do you think? Like, so if it's Shakespeare, it's sophisticated,
Yeah.
and if it's Stan Lee, it's not.
Macbeth, but no Batman.
There's no moral struggle going on with these characters to where you can come up with some sophisticated ideas. Nah, it's not in there.
Romeo and Juliet. No Superman though.
And some of these comic books are asking, what would you do if you're basically God or Jesus or something?
Yeah.
Like, those are, I think, important fucking questions. Like, do you find out if you're a tyrant or you're a hero, or do you even know what it means to be a hero?
It's basically discrediting a form of storytelling, which is
It's
stupid.
It's discrediting almost all of Joseph Campbell's work.
Sure.
Right, the hero's journey, the follow your bliss thing. Right, he's saying it's a non-factor, unimportant, because he seems cold and heartless.
He just seems incredibly ignorant.
Yeah.
Like, don't you understand what people could possibly get from these stories? If not, it's trying to tell you something, and if it is, that means it's out there in front of you.
Yeah. See, if we sat Bill Maher down and tried to talk to him about why these things are important, it would be like a person talking to a robot. Trying to tell a robot what it means to be human. It's almost that similar. It's like, dude, you haven't experienced this, or you haven't even dived into it, so you have no computing power to understand it.
Or something happened along the way, which made him like, I have to give this up. It's kid stuff. Like,
Oh, he had other people.
way
tell
to
him.
just stomp on your imagination.
What happened was he had other people tell him, other people that he considered smarter than him, saying, blah, 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 here's what's really going on in the world. This is what's really important. And he probably followed it.
It's like a form of corruption.
Because he didn't have...
It is.
He didn't have, dare I say, that childlike nature in the back of his head somewhere saying, why can't I study physics and like Spider-Man at the same time?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Why can't I do that?
Sure.
What's wrong with that?
This is basically just like this. It's literally just like someone saying mixed martial arts are for dumb thugs. But golf isn't. It's like, way to discredit one thing.
What's her name? The actress? Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Yeah, fuck that lady.
She said, MMA and football are not arts. We are the arts. I'm like, dude, they're arts.
Oh, when I heard that, I was like, fuck you.
If they're not arts, everyone would be...
Fucking Meryl Streep.
If they weren't arts, everyone would act and move the exact same way in those sports. They don't.
Way to dictate what art is.
They don't.
Art is what you make it.
Yeah.
A form of self-expression.
They take a scenario and they ad-lib with it within a confined rule, right? The confined rule in football is football. The confined rule in MMA is MMA.
Yeah.
Right? Right? They're not stopping in the middle of a fight and start painting.
Yeah.
Right? They're in their confined thing. Film, it's film. That's their confined arena.
Yeah. Music
is music. Fuck. Alright, continuing. Alright, this is from comicbook.com.
We'll read the comments at the end.
The shock jock ended his spite-filled rant by saying Donald Trump would only be voted in as president in a place where comic books are important. While Maher's rant seems to be focused on the past 20 years, it fails to take into effect any of the content or themes included comic books since the introduction of the modern day comic. That is a very important point. Right? Even like somehow he revolves it around Trump somehow.
He's a pusher. What can I tell you?
Only in a Trump world, kids would dare to dream to be heroes. It's like, what?
He's a pusher.
It's like, dude, have you ever dreamed? Do you dream at night, or do you just things just go blank? You just close your eyes and it's just dark, nothing. You're not even there. Then you wake up and reboot.
I believe something happened to him, and now he's pushing out. Like he's basically telling you what is art, what is credible, what is silly, what isn't.
Yeah.
And you can have opinions, but at least back them up. And this is just baseless. It's someone that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. All right. So the rest of this is just Stanley, I believe.
All right.
Stanley, and they're baking up comic books. So, beyond the stuff we mentioned, I think there's another level to it. And this is the high sophisticated art that Bill Maher cannot see. Bill Maher, I think he reads it in this robotic way of just... Like, yeah, I get it. He saved the cat out of the tree. He's a hero. He's like a hero. I get it. But he doesn't see the archetypal, psychological things going on. All I have to do is, like, if you sat him down, made him watch Batman Begins, and he walked out with nothing, it's like, fuck. What the fuck? What do I do with that?
You can't.
You didn't see anything?
You can't. You can't do anything.
You must become an idea. What the fuck does that mean? Like, this is...
A lot of people watched the movie, too.
Yeah.
I guarantee you a lot of them might have done the same thing. Just walked out with nothing.
Yeah.
So, again, they'd have to do the work.
And there's a lot of fans that did that, too.
Sure. But they literally have to do it themselves.
But
even if I tell them.
I think the fans at least have the beginning part of, like, shit, it's important for... when they sort of unconsciously or subconsciously like idolize these characters, they're recognizing like this character has something valuable to them. And when I say character, I don't mean Batman. I mean what he actually does.
Yeah.
What constitutes a Batman?
Well, not only that. what constitutes Batman, and also what's being said in the story itself, what's surrounding.
Yes, that too.
But if you can't get that, then you're lost, like this guy. He's literally it's like, oh, let's see. A tragic event happens, and a little boy decides he doesn't want this to ever happen to doesn't want this to happen to anybody else, and decides to take a moral stance against crime. Even if it is a little bit cartoony, it don't matter. It's a story.
Yeah.
And then you can see it how someone can add to the story something that's existential, and how it can transcend the story itself of just Batman fighting crime. If you can't see that, you can't see how that applies to real life, then you don't know what reality is.
And I was onto this guy when he started talking. Like, I'd watched the show back in the day, and it was like, political stuff. Like, okay, this is interesting. Oh, he cracks jokes here and there. Okay, that's funny. But as soon as I started hearing him talk about, like, religion, it was the way he was talking about it, where I'm like, oh, you look at people that even study religion like that as children.
Looks down.
As children.
Yeah,
as little kids, like, you're not to be talked to.
And that
adults are talking, get out of
that should be looked down upon.
And he has no idea of the geniuses that have looked through religious myths, comic books, superheroes, all that shit.
It's what you can take
that would bury him if they talked to him one-on-one.
It's what you can take from these stories, texts, etc., etc. If you can't understand that, then I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do for that guy. All right.
And for those that are like, well, politics is very important. I understand where he's going with this. What do you think politics are supposed to do? They're supposed to be like someone taking a moral stance. That's what the political system is. That's the purpose of it.
It's what it should be.
Right? They come up with laws and shit like that.
Yeah.
What are the laws for? To take some sort of moral high ground. To say that this is bad and this is bad and this is bad and this is bad and this is bad.
That's what they should be.
That's what their in spirit design is supposed to be.
Yeah. All right.
So how could you not want something that includes more of a moral stance, more of a moral argument?
If someone lacks moral integrity, this is what you're gonna get.
I think he's just robotic.
Well, think about it. One who lacks that will look at things very robotic-like.
Yeah. All right.
Pyramid 7. Day 22, take it from me, life is fragile and too short. Yeah, Pyramid, I agree.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what you mean by that.
Oh, you got Stanley passing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I believe his wife.
Yeah.
Those are places where you can even work those things out. And I mean,
not only
why
that,
would you deprave people from?
Not only that,
I didn't get that.
If something happened or some sort of thing that you want to express it, someone decides to use images, drawings, art, and story and text with it, that's a comic book. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. And for someone to stomp on it in such a way, it's just ridiculous and shows how silly he is. If not, if you look at his past videos and how silly this guy really is.
In so many different areas. Alienation, the guy who got picked on in school, you can go to those comic books and find his hero archetype within himself. Like, oh, I'm bigger than this.
That's called reading
I'm gonna
a
walk
story.
through this.
It's called reading a story and how the story itself can transcend.
Yeah.
It transcends itself.
Tragedy, how to teach you how to deal with suffering, tragedy.
Yeah.
I mean, my God.
All right.
Yeah.
Bill Maggs. Guy's an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could check out our past videos on Bill Maher, and it's like, dude, it's just the inauthenticity is just through the roof.
The guy, in my opinion, literally lacks any existential muscles everywhere.
And he can't sit down.
He can't do it.
He couldn't sit down one-on-one with a person that understands these things, that understands high art.
No.
Like, is he gonna say films should just go to? So I could play, Black Swan for him. He'll have no fucking clue what's going on.
All right.
Alright, we want to thank you guys for joining us. Please subscribe if you feel like. Always comment. We want to hear your thoughts. A lot of this is probably going to be shitting on Bill Maher. That's what happened last time when we did a video on him. And as always, give this video a thumbs down.